The history of beer started in Egypt and Middle East, around Syria, Jordan, Palestine, and it started about 6,000 years before Christ, so basically 8,000 years ago. And the history then continued through the countries and European continent, and obviously now people associate beer with Germany, but the actual starting point was Egypt. And the first manufacturer, or the most recorded history of beer, started with one lady who now acknowledged as a prime master of the beer production. It traced back in Egypt. Well, we need to mention that first production was kind of house production, expensive and mostly house-made, and definitely not industrial size production. Hope was grown and definitely cultured into households, and definitely the big expansion came around 8th century when it went to Europe with Christianity. And the first traceable public house, by the way, the name pub came from that name, public house, was established in Munich. So the history traces 9th century Munich as a first industrial production of brewery, and the first tools, all these casks that were made specifically for beer, and I think that's important. Then the history traces first manufacturing of beer in China to a Russian entrepreneur in 1900, so basically at the beginning of 20th century. He came to China and developed what people know as Harbin brand, and that's how beer came to China. Well, it's worth to mention that this manufacturer, the Budweiser BV company, now owns brands in these 6 countries. Japan, of course, we know Sapporo, USA, multiple brands, Mexico, Corona, Germany, multiple brands, of course, Belgium, Hefeweizen and other brands, and South Africa too. They big all over because I was in all those countries, and I can attest quality is the same all over the world. With opening manufacturing in Japan, company grew exponentially because obviously it's a famous culture, beer drinking culture in Japan, and I can attest to that. All my trips to Japan were accompanied by Sapporo beer drinking habits, and well, I guess it's an inevitable part of Japanese culture now. Revolution in the US brought not only new type of entrepreneurs, but also the new culture of beer drinking from Europe. In 1870, the Budweiser was originated in the US, and now it's part of American culture all over the world. Dos cervezas, por favor. Everybody knows that phrase, because if you're thirsty, you don't drink water in Mexico. You drink cervezas or beer. And in this case, we're talking about the most famous one, Corona. Corona is part of Mexican culture now, and Corona expanded all over the world as a brand, as a culture, and as a fun fact about every vacation you can imagine. If you've ever been in Brussels, you know the guy who pee on a fountain, right? So this is P-Boy, and his famous monument in the center of Brussels. I remember he's this tall, maybe slightly bigger, but the famous fact about Brussels and Belgium, because Stella Artois is from there, it started in 1366. So 14th century, the beer manufacturing culture came to Belgium. And my favorite beer, actually, I can confess, Hoegaarden, is a wheat beer, unfiltered, and I like to have it with a slice of lemon, and it's incredible enjoyment. This is actually a resemblance of the postcard frame. I remember when I was in Cape Town, it's a table mountain frame. So if you look from this direction, you can see the table mountain. So if you stay within the frame, it looks like you're on the top of the mountain, which is beautiful, picturesque view of the south part of the Cape Town. In South Africa, I remember I didn't know, honestly, confession to you, I didn't know the brand that was this company's brand. But in South Africa, the brand of Charles Glass is absolutely amazing. It's popular, it's in every pub, in every bar, and people really enjoy it. And in South Africa, of course, you have to have enjoyment of a cold beer in the hot weather. The most famous raw materials include four, namely malt, hops, water, and yeast. Malt in barley is the body and skeleton of beer, which endows beer with color, flavor, and foam and provides sugar needed for fermentation. Water, of course, called the essence and purity of beer, with 92% of bottle of beer is water. Water quality not only determines the quality and flavor of products, but also directly affects the whole process of brewing. Hops are natural spice for beer brewing. It's called the soul of beer, which endows beer with fragrance and bitterness and is a natural preservative. Yeast is the soul of beer brewing. It's also the source of life for beer. Yeast metabolizes maltose sugar in beer brewing, producing alcohol and carbon dioxide. All these materials are known to be very stable for this company, very traditionally preserved and cultured and cultivated in own way, and different types of materials used around the world. And I think that's how this company maintained the quality. What's behind me is a Budweiser production here, and BV fully automated the process of production of the beer, and there is no people. I actually don't see anyone except probably one or two servicemen walking by and observing that all mechanisms and all machinery is working all right. Again, the company is a worldwide leader in beer manufacturing. It operates in more than 50 countries. The revenue in 2024 was almost $60 billion, and 144,000 employees around the globe. And obviously, all 6 major regions worldwide are covered by this very nice company. Well, it's a fun part of this visit. Let's see if you are a real beer aficionado. Do you know that Corona takes #1 brand in the world, and then followed by Budweiser, Heineken, Modelo from Mexico, and then Brahma, Bud Light, of course, famous in the US, Skol, Stella, and Guinness takes the last place in the most famous brands around the world. But I think it's not because it's worse than Corona or some other brands, but because consumption is less. It's a very exclusive product. I like Guinness. Every time I see Guinness, especially draft Guinness, I love it, and I prefer it to other brands. It's so fully automated that even fire inspection is conducted by robots. This dog walking along production line, monitoring temperature and any kind of incident, and reporting directly to the central station. That's where people monitor production. Like I said, almost no manufacturing workers on the floor. Well, if you want to imagine yourself in Mexico and you're tired, they have even this Corona lounge here in the factory. Very nicely done, very relaxing atmosphere, and very real, actually. What I'm missing? Oh, I'm missing the real sea and real Corona in my hands, not just a camouflage bottle. They establish actual laboratory here, so students who study beer production come here and research and test, and actually can see very visual ingredients working together, how they combine, what they maintain, and what they actually produce. And I think it's a very interesting and fun part. I bet high school students and maybe even kindergarten kids can learn something here. The interesting part about production here is that they're using black light manufacturing, so there is no human, there is no need to burn electricity, and it's very efficient too. Well, when you're in Hong Kong, you cannot avoid by meet the Blue Gull. The Blue Gull is a famous Pilsner type beer manufactured in Hong Kong in enormous quantity because people in Hong Kong, they like beer. The story of this museum and this manufacturing company wouldn't be complete without mentioning Goose Island manufacturers in the US that produce beer with taste. Not many people like it, but if you want to refresh yourself in a hot summer afternoon, that is the best choice you can enjoy and try different flavors. But again, it's not for everyone, but for someone special like you. Of course, you cannot leave the Budweiser manufacturer factory without tasting the beer. They gave us 4 samples. One is a hop beer, another one is kind of fruity beer. This one is not Guinness, it's a taste like coffee and beer. Very nice, by the way, for, I don't know, for late afternoon if you want to enjoy your relaxed time with family. And this one is IPA, not my favorite, but very tasty here.